Hello everyone, welcome to GoTarryn TV. I'm Taryn, the traveling trainer of GoTarryn Personal Training here in the greater Atlanta area, and I'm about to welcome for the very first time the director and master trainer of Laugh Active, Ms. Celeste Greene, who, by the way, also is out of Atlanta, Georgia as well. And I'm excited to have her on here momentarily, but before we welcome Celeste onto the show, if I could please invite everyone out there to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And while you're watching today's video interview, if you'd be so kind as to like the video, leave us a comment, and share it on your Facebook timeline or tweet it out on Twitter or any other social media ways you can get it out there. We would greatly appreciate that. Now back to Celeste Greene. Again, as I mentioned, she is the founder of Laugh Active. She's going to be coming on here and telling us about all the fun, happy things she's doing in an active way here in Atlanta, Georgia. I can't wait to talk to her and meet her for the very first time. So stay tuned. We'll have her on here shortly. And remember, with GoTarryn Personal Training, it's your time, it's your investment, it's your life. We'll be right back, folks. All right, welcome back, everyone. And as you can see side by side, we're welcoming for the very first time to GoTarryn TV. She is the director and master trainer of Laugh Active. Her name is Ms. Celeste Greene. Celeste, how are you doing out there today?
I'm awesome. Thanks so much for having me today, Taryn.
All right, my pleasure. Thank you for, like I said before recording, I appreciate you connecting with me on LinkedIn. For the folks watching out there, I actually reached out to Celeste and I saw what she was doing with Laugh Active and everything else here also in the greater Atlanta area, and I was really impressed and really enjoyed what I saw through the website. We're going to talk about that today. But first and foremost, Celeste, if you could please walk us through, and this is the first time you and I are meeting each other face-to-face, please tell us a little bit about yourself, if anybody's not familiar with you, and where you're from, how you grew up. Are you from Atlanta, and how did you end up with gerontology and wellness?
Awesome, awesome. So I grew up on St. Simon's Island, Georgia.
Nice.
So a little bit of Southern, a little bit of surfer.
Cool.
It was a great place to grow up because my younger brother and I could be really active. It was a small place where everybody knew each other, and you could kind of leave your doors open at night, and you could ride your bike from one end of the island to the other. So
Wow.
It was just, yeah. It's not a big island because we were little kids.
Wow.
It was a blast, and I moved to Atlanta. Let's see, in 2004, I was attending Clayton State University and getting my my undergraduate degree in communications. And after that, I went into marketing, which had been a dream for me, and I thought it was going to be glamorous. And maybe it is for some. I had all these visions from watching Mad Men of how cool it was going to be. And I took a job as a project manager, and I did that for nearly a decade.
Wow.
And ironically, while I was working in project management, I also was involved in an improv comedy troupe in Whole Center in Atlanta.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, so we obviously did a lot of laughter and had a lot of great times with that. But when the economy downturned in 2008, I found myself for the first time laid off from my job. And during that time, I started to really reflect on my life and like, what am I doing with my life? And I just found that I really wasn't laughing a lot, and I just wasn't as happy as I knew that I could be.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if some of your listeners have ever experienced that, where you kind of take stock in your life and you're like, okay, what is this? And what I learned about myself was not only did I want to laugh more, but I wanted to be more in a helping profession.
Mm-hmm.
So I started hunting around on the internet, because that's where you go when you need to laugh, right? And I started looking around for ways to laugh and to bring more laughter into my life. And I found this practice called laughter yoga. And I'll share with you what that's about. But what ended up happening was in this layoff, I had this severance check and I was in a self-discovery period. So I went down to Florida to this certified laughter yoga leader training, and I didn't know what to expect at all. You know, just a bunch of people coming together to essentially laugh for no reason.
Huh.
And this weekend changed my life for the better and forever, basically. And what this practice is, it's kind of interesting. It's actually based on scientific knowledge that your body doesn't know the difference between genuine laughter and just like going through the motions of laughing. So just opening your mouth and just laughing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now it seems like, now wait a second, what? You know, there's nothing funny here, but to your body, it's all one and the same.
Yeah.
And so this whole practice is about getting in touch with this childlike playfulness that's already in you, this innate ability to laugh more. And what happens is in a group setting is even if you're just going through the motions at first, when you get together in a group and you make eye contact with other people who are doing the same thing, it becomes real and contagious laughter. And it's a beautiful thing. You end up getting an aerobic workout, and just mentally and physically you feel wonderful. And a lot of people, they ask me, they're like, well, wait a second, like, what are you doing? Are you like telling jokes in yoga poses? But there's not any yoga poses. It's really just about the diaphragmatic motion of the laughter. So when you're laughing, your diaphragm moves up and down. And it's similar to the intentional deep breathing that you might do in a yoga class. So that's where it gets its name. You don't have to have a yoga mat or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I left this training weekend, and I set up a website and printed out like some cheapy business cards and started sharing this practice with people. And I found myself working with a lot of different types of groups, but mainly corporate and older adults.
Okay.
Yeah, and I fell in love with the senior population and helping them to laugh more. It's really unique for them in particular because with older adults, and particularly ones who are suffering from various types of cognitive impairment and dementias, it's really hard to understand and appreciate humor. Yeah, it can be a little bit tough to actually get to the laugh. And with this, it just kind of bypasses all that mental circuitry, and you can just laugh and connect with other through the laughter. There's a French philosopher that says that the shortest distance between two people is laughter. And it's true, because when you laugh with someone, you connect with them. There's no language barriers or barriers in beliefs. It's just pure lighthearted connection. Yeah, and so I did this for a number of years, and I still do it with older adults. But I had a really special experience with my grandmother, and my grandmother has always been just such an influencer in my life. Growing up, going back to that, I remember just summers at her house in her basement, just creating just good times. Like, you know, my brother and I, we set up like a carnival in the basement one year and did all the neighbors. And she was a widow, and she loved having the house filled with that type of energy. And when my grandmother started to move down the continuum of care, so out of her home and into independent living and later assisted and then finally skilled nursing, she suffered a lot of different ailments, but specifically when she broke her hip, of course, PT, OT came in and prescribed exercise to her basically. But you couldn't get my grandma to exercise like for anything. But she had always enjoyed laughing, and I was doing these laughter yoga sessions with her all throughout the years. And it was during that time that I got the idea, well, why not combine this type of laughter into an exercise program? And it was really kind of selfishly motivated because I wanted to get my own grandma to get better.
Sure. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, and so that's what led me to Georgia State. Go Panthers!
That's right.
Yeah, they have an excellent master's program there in gerontology. And I started the program in 2012 with this vision of bringing joyful exercise to older adults and helping them to get the things that they need. So strength, balance, endurance, and flexibility, but also to have fun doing it, laughter, and to make a connection with each other, but to make a joyful connection with the exercise process in general. Because, I mean, let's face it, when we're having fun doing something, we're more likely to do it again and again, right?
True. Mm-hmm.
And so I enrolled in that program.
Okay.
So that I could learn more about the aging process and more about how I could develop this idea that I had about bringing this intentional laughter practice into an exercise program for older adults.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got into this program really just not knowing what to expect at all, just kind of a sponge for whatever arose. And I found myself surrounded by really inspiring colleagues, but also mentors in the program. And one mentor in particular was like, Celeste, I mean, you've really got something here. You should really develop this program. I'm going to hook you up with some exercise physiology people that can help you to develop this program. So I collaborated with some folks in the kinesiology department over at the University of Arkansas.
Okay.
Yeah, and then my director, what we did was we created the whole program, and then we actually did a waitlist control trial as part of my thesis study. And, you know, not to get like too sciencey out there for people, but it's a full-fledged study where you do pre and post-test results on people. And this particular study design enables you to look at change over time. So not only like within groups, but also between groups. And so we wanted to look at the efficacy in a senior living setting, specifically assisted living.
Okay.
And we wanted to look at various mental health outcomes, physical health outcomes, and also something called self-efficacy for exercise or confidence to engage in an exercise program. Because it was one of our theories was that if we made this experience enjoyable for older adults, that they would feel more motivated to participate, not only initially, but on an ongoing basis.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And it took a long time to do the study. I mean, it's I remember when it finally got approved by the what they call it, the institutional review board that makes sure that you're not going to, you know, do anything crazy. I was like, oh no, I guess we're in now that we're doing this. And so it was actually, the study itself was 12 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had 4 assisted living communities, and they were divided into 2 groups. And each group got a 6-week program, facilitated twice weekly by yours truly. If you haven't done the math yet, that's 48 exercise classes.
Wow, how did you do that? That's amazing. You must have been exhausted. Wow.
I was a busy girl.
Wow, I bet you would have liked to have cloned yourself back then.
Definitely. And that was in addition to my regular client load.
So, oh my God. Oh.
It was 4 classes a week just for the study.
That's incredible. Wow.
But, yeah, it was a lot of fun though. And we saw some really promising early results in mental health, various levels of physical health, and also the self-efficacy for exercise piece I was telling you about. And this is actually a great month because the study was published in a peer-reviewed journal in the field earlier in the year, but it finally went into print this month. So it's like it's actually in a physical journal.
Oh,
So
that's incredible. Congratulations.
thank you, thank
Wow.
you.
Wow, that's
So
awesome.
I know I never really envisioned all these years ago when I started that crazy weekend of laughter that I was do a scientific study and all this stuff that's come out of it. Uh, and then after we published the study, well, in the online version, which has been out since last year, but just in print now,
Hmm.
we got a lot of attention from people in the United States and also people abroad. So in other countries, which I didn't expect. And they asked me, well, create a training program about this. Show us how to blend this type of laughter into an exercise program. So that's what I did. And I created a Laugh Active Train the Trainer program. And I put it online so that people could, no matter where you are, there wouldn't be any borders to the training. And I built this specifically with a lay professional in mind. So someone who doesn't have a background in exercise science, but they might be leading exercise. And we see this a lot in senior living where,
Hmm.
it's like, hey, activity director, watch this video and do this. And, you know, and they don't necessarily know the ins and outs of how to create, a safe, effective, and enjoyable experience. So,
Sure.
yeah. So I created this program basically with them in mind and put it online, chunked it up so that, if you're busy, which most everybody is, you just log in and it's all in just short segments. So you kind of move through the content, you log back in and pick up right where you left off and get back in. And we launched that earlier this year, and we're having graduates now. So earlier you mentioned cloning me. I guess that's what we're doing, but everybody's got their own unique way of doing things. So it's been a wild ride, and I hope that it's really just beginning.
Oh, yeah, that's incredible. It's amazing. That's like you said, who would have thought that weekend that you did would have just like caught like wildfire and led you to this point. And it sounds like it's only continuing, like you said, it's just going to grow bigger too.
Yeah, it's really interesting when I reflect on different points in my life, and I'm sure you have too, where something that initially seems like a major disappointment or setback, like getting laid off from your job, really actually was exactly what I needed, because who knows, maybe I'd still be um, in that role and not really fulfilling the dream I had of helping people. And I love helping people in this way because not only are they becoming healthier, they're becoming happier. And we could all use a little happiness.
Oh yeah, definitely. I really like that what you're doing, Celeste. That's terrific. And let me ask you, take us back to the certification and training system. So can you tell us, because I know I've made some notes here about what comes along with that, such as, for example, the learning modules, the professional networking, and the options of team or individual membership. So for something like that, what's all involved if someone was interested with going through the training and certification system?
So, thank you for asking that. Basically, yeah, there's an option for individuals, so people like myself that might not be affiliated with a senior living provider.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just regular old Joe or Jane, if you will. And then also groups. So what we have also is a number of clients who are actually senior living providers who want to certify a number of their staff members,
Hmm.
which we recommend because then you've got that internal support. Since we built this for lay professionals or people that don't have that background, you can come in fresh, and it's a specialist certification so that you don't have to necessarily have that background. Of course, it helps, and I think it's even beneficial for fitness people who want to learn more about elders and the unique nuances of exercising with older adults, which are numerous. And in that training program, it's basically 16 hours of content, and it's divided into 12 learning modules. And really, I kind of think of it as two sets. So it's the first 6 and then the back 6.
Okay.
And the first 6 set the stage, help people to understand that aging process, various medical conditions that are common among, well, a number of people, but older adults in particular. Also various theory-based motivational techniques. So it's one thing to have an engaging program, but there are other theory-based ideas involved with motivation that the practitioner can employ to help bring people back again and again. Leadership techniques. You know how it is. Sometimes people, maybe they see what you do and they're like, oh yeah, you know, I could do that. And it's, you know, there are a lot of things involved with being a good instructor, just various leadership techniques. And I'm giving kind of a quick and dirty overview, but then the back 6 is each of the Laugh Active components. So the strength, balance, endurance, flexibility, the laughter, and also a module on programming and bringing it all together. So if you were working with a group every week, you know, what would you do with them during that time period to help them meet guidelines, physical activity guidelines, but also to have a well-rounded program that's not going to overly exhaust them, or at the other end of the spectrum, not engage them enough in the programming. So we give them all the materials in the learning management system. So all you have to do is basically have an internet connection. So you log in, it's all there. It's video based, and I wanted to do that for a couple of reasons, but I find that, you know, when I got my exercise certification, there weren't videos associated with it. I think some of that has modernized, but it was basically like they send you a book and you go through the book at your own pace, and you didn't actually see the exercises in action. So we wanted to give them videos showing them the exercises, showing them the different modifications so that they could look at that again and again. It's always there in the database. And then when they finish the program, they get another set of materials unlocks, and it's just different things to help them promote the program. So flyers, like a press release template, various things like that, so that it's turnkey. They get out of the box workouts. They have all the tools in the program to create their own workout, but sometimes with people, you just need to get started. And so we give them out of the box workouts so that they can just go ahead and do this template, so that you're not delaying starting, you know?
Yeah, that's tremendous. Yeah, I like that, Celeste. This is great. You know, that makes it so that they don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's almost like you've got everything set, so they could just follow the policies and template and procedures right from there. That is excellent. And then can you tell us a little bit about the I noticed that your website had a free webinar also, but tell us about some of the webinars that you have too, that you have going on.
Yeah, so that's something that we're looking to build a lot of in this year is make a lot of webinar content to help people basically understand how they can do what they do better. Yeah. And bring that element of fun into the programming. The free webinar that we have there right now is it's basically a program introduction to help people understand why older adults need comprehensive exercise programming. Well, all adults really, but why we need strength, balance, endurance, flexibility. You know, it's not enough just to have a walking club. You know, it's not enough just to have a stretching class. So we need to drive home that point that you need the comprehensive programming, and then also to let people know how the laughter plays into this. For a lot of folks, it can be hard to envision intentional laughter. It's like, I hear what you're saying, but what do you mean? What does it look like? And how do you get them to laugh? And so we show them that, and then we actually take them behind the scenes into the training program so that they can see what that looks like as well.
That's very unique. I like that. And you reminded me when I had facilitated this stress management course. We're talking maybe more than 5 years ago. I do remember something that stuck with me in leading the stress management course. They had said that it was impossible to frown at the same time while laughing. And I tried that, and I was like, oh, they're onto something here. So when you talked about the human body can be I guess tricked, not knowing whether or not a laugh is intentional or unintentional. That really had me thinking right there. And it was like, yeah, that's true. I'd never thought of it that way. But, all the benefits of laughing, like burning calories, building endorphins, and reducing stress, I think that's a big key, too, is the whole stress management component of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I work a lot with corporations, too. And the majority of my work with them is actually stress management because it's also hard to feel too much stress when you're laughing as well. It really helps to just let all that tension go, and it's actually shown to release tension and produce a healthy type of stress, so that combating that fight or flight. All the lions are out to get me.
Yeah, very well said. And Celeste, I was also mentioning briefly, too, before we were recording, I think that this fitness center that I train a lot of clients at in Buckhead, it's called Second Ponce de Leon Baptist Church Family Life Center. It's a long name, SPDL FLC for short. They could really benefit from, the Laughter Yoga Atlanta that you do in addition to. I think that would be something that they could really, so if anybody's watching there, maybe can you tell them, I guess, a little bit about Laughter Yoga Atlanta specifically, like if they were to have that class there.
Definitely. So I have another company called Laughter Yoga Atlanta, and that was that first company that I started after the training program, and that's the piece that inspired Laugh Active. But the laughter yoga practice is just that. It's just the laughter piece of things, and we intersperse it with deep breathing. And I lead a free class once a month in the community in Buckhead. If anybody would like to try it, it's totally drop in. There's no commitment. You don't even have to pay. Woohoo! And it's basically just a wonderful way to come together to get an aerobic workout through laughing, but also to do something different and to connect with other people in the process.
Yeah.
I've been getting this free class for over 7 years now. And it's my longest running class, and watching people who, have come in at the very beginning over time, really come out of their shell, and watching the friendships develop in the group, because again, the shortest distance between two people is laughter. And there's really something about coming together with a group of strangers and laughing. It really creates that connection, and over time it really changes you and your outlook. I know, I'm still got that project manager in me, and I do manage a lot of projects, but helping people to approach life more lightly. We don't have to take everything so seriously, and just learn how to kind of let things roll off of our backs. And it doesn't mean that we eliminate our problems, but we eliminate viewing the problems as problems.
I like that. That's very powerful, Celeste. This is great. So that's terrific. Now let's plug some information because we went over a lot. How can people find information on Laugh Active, and also contacting you directly if you wanted to plug any social media or any other ways of contact, please?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Taryn. So Laugh Active is laughactive.com. We have social media, Facebook, Twitter by the same name, Laugh Active. And also the Just Laughter side of things is laughteryoga.atlanta.com, and social media by the same name, Laughter Yoga Atlanta. I'd like to keep things simple.
Yeah, me too. I'm the same way. I like that. And I like your brand as well. I mentioned, I really like the did you come up with the name Laugh Active and the logo?
You know, it was interesting how we came up with the name. You know, it is fitness, but we wanted people to not feel intimidated by the idea of fitness. You know,
Uh-huh.
that seemed hard. And whereas just being active is, you know, I could do that. You know, I'm washing the dishes, I'm being more active. I mean, we want you to do a little bit more than that. But and it's also a play on this idea of active laughter. So when you laugh in the way that we laugh, you're choosing to laugh. You're not waiting for something to happen to you to make you laugh. You're actually generating your own laughter that's already inside of you. So not only is it kind of a play on being more active through laughter, but also choosing to bring about that active laughter.
Mm.
And I didn't come up with the name. I had a branding party at my house. When I was
Oh.
coming up with this, I couldn't afford one of those fancy ad agencies that I used to work at. So I had a bunch of really smart friends over, and I fed them. We had some big Post-its on the wall with different naming categories. And actually, one of my colleagues that I met in the Gerontology Institute, who works at the Division of Aging Services, she's the one who came up with the name.
That's brilliant.
It's, yeah,
Wow.
I designed the logo. I just know what I like, and another friend of mine did that for me as well. So I'm very fortunate in my life to be surrounded by really cool and really creative and smart friends and associates. So
Yeah,
can't
you know, that's
it.
that's what it's all about, Celeste. You're right. And you know, it's amazing. This past, I can't believe it's 30 minutes already, and that flew by so fast. And this has been a very fun episode. I knew it would be. I should have assumed that, you know, with talking to you. And I'm glad to have met you and gone over Laugh Active and everything else you're doing here in Atlanta. And I want to thank you very much for being on here. And I think we definitely got to do another follow-up video blog. And, you know, again, we could, yeah, definitely love to have you back on and go delve in a little bit more specifically into these different kinds of what's involved with both the certification and training and also the webinars and also the case studies and everything else, too, that you got going on there. So that's excellent. Again, and congratulations on being published officially in that peer journal reviewed. I'll have to check that out. That's really, really cool. That's awesome. Well, good stuff. All right. Well, Celeste, hey, thank you again for your time. Again, this 30 minutes just flew by so fast. I can't believe it's already time. But yeah, thanks for coming on here, and I'd love to have you back on again. And for the folks who are watching, here comes Laugh Active's contact information that Celeste just plugged. And Celeste, we'll see you and have a great day.
Yeah, thanks so much, Taryn. It was really a pleasure.
My pleasure. Very good. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.